I'm pushing up, Rotate.
No, they're rotating back, They're gonna go, just rotate, guys, just rotate, give it up, just give it up. All right. Nice, rotate.
Greetings and welcome to episode number 16 of The Rotation with ZHUKE. And this one has to feel special because look right at the bottom of your screen there, ZHUKE 16, episode 16. Let's get it. Stage 4 is almost here, ladies and gentlemen, and the Call of Duty League season, it's flying by. I feel like we gotta slow down, talk to Father Time and be like, hey, listen, I'm trying to enjoy the competitive Call of Duty season. So if you could just slow it down, maybe add an extra stage or something, that would be much appreciated. We're coming off a little bit of a break from Stage 3 as well as All-Star Weekend, and there is a lot to talk about today. Before we do that, everyone, you know the drill. Head over to YouTube, subscribe, Zach Warhack, or follow me on Twitter at ZHUKE16. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the good stuff. I just like to hammer that nail home so you guys can help grow the show. It means a lot to me, and I've gotten a lot of love and support lately, so thank you. Now let's hop right into some first blood, and I want to talk about LAN for a second. Not particularly gonna beat a dead horse here because I know I've talked about LAN for Stage 4, the major's gonna be here, yada, yada, yada. I was right, no fans. I knew that was gonna happen. But I want to talk about this on a different scale and a different level. I don't know how many of you guys saw this over the past weekend, but there were some amateur LAN events that took place. So I want to react to those and the clips that I've seen, and I hope you have too, and talk about that and the do's and don'ts of LAN and why the CDL is a professional league and these are amateur leagues. Because what I saw was a lot of idiotic behavior and guys who can't control their emotions, too much testosterone in one room, trying to impress your friends, and someone's gonna get hurt. I get it. Call of Duty is based around shit talking. I'm better than you. I'm gonna scream, get up from my monitor, and I just beamed you because I am better at using this controller than you are at using yours. My knowledge is better than yours, so I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna scream at you. Okay, I get it. That's what Call of Duty is built on. That's the community we are. The rankings of community toxicity goes Gears of War, then Call of Duty number 2. Plain and simple, no doubt about it in my mind, okay? But we need to be more professional and more thoughtful here. So I know LANs are coming back in the CDL, but we need to talk about respect and the example that these guys can set for some of these idiots I'm talking about. And if you didn't see the clips, go to Twitter. You can find them. It's ridiculous. So first of all, some clips surfaced of kids literally breaking monitors. Like this guy at a LAN center got up after winning and was like walking around the corner, storming around the corner, and he's like walking around it and he goes like that. He knocks a monitor over at a LAN center, like a $500 piece of equipment. He just knocks it over onto the floor, and it was like the meme where it's like, at this moment, he knew he fucked up. He slammed it on the ground, and he looks down, and he's like, and then he proceeded to not like pick it up, put it back down and be like, oh my God, I'm sorry. Like the adrenaline got the best of me there. He just proceeds to dart down the hallway around the corner so he can yell at his opponents, talk crap, whatever he wants to do. And I'm just sitting here like, are you serious? Like that is not your property. You destroyed it. You didn't even put in an effort to pick it up and like save it, see if it was okay. You were just too caught up in yourself, your own adrenaline and personality and ego that you just had to go talk to the other team after you beat them. What are you doing? Other ones, there was so much other stuff that happened throughout this. I know that everyone, it's a touchy subject. Everyone thinks mask mandates are over, not over. Listen, businesses can do what they want, okay? If they're saying in the LAN center you got to wear your mask, don't walk over with it underneath your chin when you're going to talk crap. Like, just abide by the rules. It's not hard to do. That's another point. I'm beyond that. But there was that going on, and then people, we got to learn how to talk trash a little bit better, okay? Because I get online Call of Duty is a whole different world. You hear stuff that is just ridiculous. If you said it to someone's face, you would get clocked. There would be jail time. There would be arrests made, all sorts of stuff. Like I mentioned before when we talk about professionals versus amateurs, at these amateur events, okay? What do you see back in the CWL, back in the MLG days in professional Call of Duty with Clayster, Scump, any of those guys who get hype? What do? I'll give you an example. Clayster goes out with his scuff controller. He's got his control freaks that are like up to here, stacked as high as just an absolute tower. And then he fries someone. His trash talk. He goes, "Oh my God, I just shit on you. You're so bad. Let's go. You're terrible. Retire." Like Clay will say stuff like that. Scump, the same thing. We've seen the famous one with Scump. He wins a big gunfight and he goes, "Oh, 3-0," like that. And that's how they talk trash. Everything from the pros is in-game. You talk trash based on the events that are occurring in the game. If you absolutely annihilate someone and just ruin their day, make them look like a fool, break their ankles, turn on them, whatever it may be, you get hype, you tell them they suck, you just trashed them, they're big junk at the game, they choked, they cost their team, whatever you want to do. One thing you don't do personal. You don't talk about someone's family. You don't talk about someone's girlfriend. You don't talk about somebody's personal life at all. You leave that out of it. What's on the field, if you will, is what's on the field. And you talk about that and you get under someone's skin and talk trash like that. You do not take personal shots and you just don't be an idiot and a jerk. Like, there's a difference between trash talk and bullying. And what I saw on some of this stuff is just idiocracy and guys just absolutely bullying other people. And there was a clip of a kid who did the same thing, got away from his station, walked all the way over to the other team, called them all trash, whatever, you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck. And he's like loud and animated and looks pissed off and like he could fight someone and he's screaming in their face. And then has the audacity after this to go like try and give guys a GG fist bump after he's getting in their face, like spitting in them and saying all these things. And then he's trying to give like a GG good game fist bump. And the other team is like, dude, no, I'm like not GG's. You're an a-hole. And this guy got all pissed off that was happening. So I digress for a second and pull it back. And let me just say, LAN is coming back. Let's take an example from the professional players. Watch how they do it. Watch the trash talk. Watch how everything stays at the station, doesn't come over to the opponent. Everything pertains to what happens on the map in your career. Doesn't get personal, doesn't talk about your family, this or that. The trash talk stays within the confines of the game and how it is played. Thank you. Listen to me. I'm your professor. Don't be an idiot. Don't be a jerk. Don't be a bully, because it looked like fights were about to break out and there were going to be lawsuits, and you never know when someone's going to snap hard enough, have a weapon with them, then you got a bad situation on your hands. Let's be respectful, get it together, and follow the example of the CDL. Thank you. That's my first blood take. I know it got a little hot and heavy there, as it always does on the rotation with ZHAK. So now, what we're going to do, a lot to talk about in the next segment, so let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Barracks News and Notes from around the league. The roster changes are going insane this year, and I love it myself, honestly, because it means teams are competing at the highest level and doing everything they can in their power to want to win. But it's a crazy list to go to, so let's sit back, relax, take a sip of your bourbon. Shout out Woodford Reserve, love their stuff. And let's get right into it, okay? So roster changes galore as we head into Stage 4. I think the most notable one, well, we actually all know what the most notable one is, and I'll talk about it in a second because I'm going to give a take on a team in particular, and I'm going to save the best for last, okay? I'm going to put the good stuff, hint, hint, LA Thieves, on the back burner so we can get through everything else first. So the Seattle Surge, they get rid of Desi. He's there he just had a cup of coffee with the Seattle Surge. He's in, played a couple matches, cup of coffee, boom, he's out. Just like that, he's gone, and they pick up Classic, okay? So talking about the Seattle Surge in general, I want to make an analogy to this team right now because they have a lot of talent. They have a lot of good players who can perform as individuals, but we're not really getting it all put together for the Seattle Surge, and it's not just this year in Cold War. So the Seattle Surge, they remind me of the NFL's recent Cleveland Browns team up to last season. The Seattle Surge are the Cleveland Browns of the CDL. They have some players who are stars. They have some players who are loyal. Joe Thomas plays his whole career with the Cleveland Browns. He's a Hall of Fame lineman, goes down in history. Right now, Octane, He's Joe Thomas. He's loyal to the Seattle Surge. He's been there. They've tried to build a team around him. And then you have the star players, but the things are just going wrong. You got Jarvis Landry. You get Odell Beckham. Baker Mayfield his first year. Yeah, the pieces are there, but you're unsuccessful. And you're just not competing at the level that everybody else is. You have 0-16, 0-16, 1-15, 0-16. All these terrible seasons from the Cleveland Browns leading up to last year, the Seattle Surge. That's the cutoff. You are not last year's Cleveland Browns. You're 2 years ago Cleveland Browns and before that. Since coming into the league, the Seattle Surge, they've been one of the worst teams. They haven't won. They didn't have a good season in MW, and it feels like they're wasting Octane's talent. I know they're trying to make changes. They're trying to make moves. And hopefully they turn into the newfound Cleveland Browns and get better and play at the level they want to, compete, and they're able to make the playoffs and win a championship, win an event, go positive in a stage, do something, Seattle Surge. Talking about the roster change that they make, I think Classic is a good move. The guy's a vet, man, and he's a savvy vet at that. A 5-time champion in the Call of Duty scene, not the Call of Duty League, but throughout the CWL MLG. This guy has been on some stellar teams, and he can make a difference. The Seattle Surge, it's felt like they're just one good piece away from making something happen. They've played matches tightly, and they've made it work, and they have talent left and right. Gunless, when he was on E United, that team was so good in IW. Octane, when he was with LG, a really talented squad. Looney when he was there. Pristini with E United winning champs with Clayster. Like, these guys have so much talent, and I want to see them succeed so bad. By no means am I knocking on them as players, and I hate the Seattle Surge or anything like that, because I'm rooting for these guys. I want to see them put it together, but right now they'll be the first to tell you they're not doing good. The results show it for themselves. So I think Classic is a good move that can happen. So he moves from Paris to Seattle. I will be interested to see how he can assist them in this upcoming stage, because I think things need to happen fast for Seattle. We're almost at the cutoff, folks. Like, stage 4 is here. Then champs are just around the corner. We got 2 more stages and then champs. It's now or never. The season has flown by. Roster changes have been made. Seattle waited a little longer than a lot of people thought that they should have, but we're here. I hope it works out for them. I think Classic is a good move. I think he has high IQ. The gun skill with any of these guys that get picked up by a CDL team, it's going to be there, but a lot of it comes down to in the locker room, if you will. Can you mesh together? Can you put together a good environment where you enjoy going to work every day and competing alongside your brothers? That's what I look for the Seattle Surge to do in order to get better. So the next one we'll talk about is the Paris Legion, because there was kind of a swap there. So Classic taken from the Paris Legion, and then you talk about the other EU team, the London Royal Ravens. They sit down ZAPTIUS and Zed, and then they get Afro and Alex. So Afro's good. He's here. Alex back on the starting roster. They've been crazy all year, the London Royal Ravens. They've been going nuts with the roster changes. Hopefully, they're finally settled down. So I said I'm going to talk about the Paris Legion. Let's talk about the Paris Legion. They get Zap. I think that he was performing really well for the London Royal Ravens, and I don't think that they necessarily wanted to bench him or trade him or drop him, because he was doing well. He was vibing with Paul X. But the thing and the fact of the matter is that they had the option. Afro got his visa finally. Alex works well in that team. So it was kind of a no-brainer, the London Royal Ravens. They had to make a business decision, and they did exactly that. But now you see Scraps, Temp, Aqua, and Zap. I think there's a lot of veterans in there who can help mold ZAPTIUS in the player that he wants to be and the player they need him to be to compete and succeed at a high level. And let me tell you, we're going to get into groups here in a little bit, but they are gnarly for Stage 4. A lot of competition. These bottom-tier teams, they're going to have a challenging time competing with the top-level teams that they're faced against in these groups. So I'll be curious to see how well these roster changes work out, and I think this is one of the ones that can. I think the Paris Legion have been good all season, but they haven't been good enough to close out a series. What I mean is they'll pick up 1 or 2 maps, they'll make it competitive, but then they just can't close it out. I think Zap is a role player where he can make things happen for Paris that put them over the hump and get them to the spot where they're able to win a series. I think he's an asset to the team. I think it's a good move. He will pair well with Temp, and that allows Matty Marshall and Aqua to kind of do their thing around the map. Plain and simple, I like the move from Paris. I think it may pan out for them. Then you see London Royal Ravens. So Shawnee, Paul, Alex, and Afro. Paul has been frying. I've talked about him a lot. There's so many rookies who have been incredible, and he's just another one that's in the Rookie of the Year discussion. He gets called up from the challenger scene and instantly makes an impact for the London Royal Ravens. He's going to be a star for years to come. I think he's a really good player, and he brings a lot of light to the London Royal Ravens, and I think that the organization should be happy to have him. And now it just comes down to, have you had enough time to practice with the 2 new guys who are coming back in, and can you all get on the same page? I think that's the biggest story for all these teams almost, because you make these roster changes, you have a week to scrim and get it locked in before you're playing matches that matter. Whoever can work the quickest and have their team adapt to each other, that's the team that will succeed most in Stage 4. I'm a firm believer in it. The next one is an interesting one when we talk about roster changes. This is almost a Rostermania episode of the rotation with ZHAK. I know it's been crazy. Is Vivid for the Dallas Empire. He had such a good campaign in MW, and then on LAG this year, he was kind of lackluster to begin the season, and then he tapered off, lost his stride, and he lost his spot on the roster. So Vivid, he goes out, and with that being said, that puts it at Crim6, Illy, Shotzi, and he now. So Fellow had his shot. He played all right. Fellow did perform where I think, it was a good spot for him. But as I always mention, these teams are wanting to win. The Dallas Empire did not achieve what they wanted to in Stage 3 as the major came around and completed. So what do you got to do? You make a roster change. Vivid is the guy that comes on the team. And when you look at his stats before he was dropped by LAG, 0.94. Not bad at all. 0.93 in the respawn on hardpoint. And where he really succeeds is S&D. Had a little bit better of a KD there, a 0.95. But what he can do to you, he can open up all these maps. And I'll be curious to see if Standoff is one of the Dallas Empire's favorites as that gets added into the rotation when it comes to Search and Destroy. Because Vivid was a first blood machine in MW, and he likes to play with pace and push the initiative on the other team. I'll be curious to see if that map gets brought into the Dallas Empire pool, and he's a big reason why. I like the move for them. I think he can work really well and assist in Illy going back to his traditional role, kind of a flex, more of an AR. So him and Crim can work together, and then Shotzi can Vivid can work as the SMG duo. Maybe you let Illy in there too. I don't know what the plan is from Rambo Ray and the Dallas Empire, but I'm excited for him. I'm curious to see what they do. Fellow had a good stint with them, but now Vivid is the one to talk about. Last episode, I already talked about MAJORMANIAK. So we'll brush over him again quickly. I think the biggest thing with the Minnesota Rocker is Lamar. He's a slayer, man. He's a position player. He holds down the power positions. He reminds me of Octane in their play style. And I think you just get a little bit more flair from MAJORMANIAK, and also the IQ and the plays he can make situationally around the map, especially in Search and Destroy. When we started the season, that was the bread and butter of Minnesota Rocker. Their Search and Destroy is what they were known for, what everyone loved about them. And then it kind of fluttered off, and they got bad at S&D. So they're looking to bring that back. MAJORMANIAK has the mind for it. He has the skill for it. I think it's a good move there. He can hold his own in the respawns, and you really win maps in the S&D. So that's what I think about MAJORMANIAK coming back to the Minnesota Rocker. I think with his IQ, the pace of Standy, the veteran leadership that comes from Attach, and then Priesta has just been absolutely flying and frying in his newfound role. I think the Minnesota Rocker are a team to watch out for with that roster change. My eyes are getting all wide there, and I'm getting incredibly excited to talk about this next roster change because I know all of you, every single one of you, has an opinion. You went crazy on Twitter the other day, and this is the reason why. The LA Thieves have benched HUKE and brought TJ back into the starting lineup. My instant reaction and a lot of your guys' instant reaction was the same, but I've had a chance to think about it and ponder it, and I'll change it. So my initial reaction was literally, what are you doing? You just bring this generational talent onto your roster. You play him a couple matches. You don't succeed in the Stage 3 major. Now he's gone. That's one way to look at it. But I actually side with the LA Thieves now. They were performing so well with TJ in the starting lineup. He was frying. His confidence was through the roof. And those guys just seemed like their vibes were at an all-time high. TJ, Venom, Draza, and Kenny, when they were playing, like the listen-ins and after the matter-of-fact interviews, they were laughing, they were having fun, and they were absolutely spitting on their opponents. The LA Thieves were a top 3 team when TJ was on the roster. The last match he played, they 3-1'd Optic. Then he goes to the bench, HUKE comes out. They don't perform to the expectations that JCap had. It's a cutthroat league. HUKE is one of the most team players that you'll ever find in the league. He won't be happy being benched, I'm not saying that. But he's also not terribly upset with it, because he will always want what's best for his teammates and what it takes for them to succeed. And if he's not happy playing, he doesn't think he's playing to his full potential and he thinks he should be replaced, he's okay with the move and he's going to do what makes him happy. Regardless, he doesn't really have a say in it, but he's not going to go out kicking and screaming. HUKE is a pro's pro, man. The kid is so mature for his age, and he's so good at the game. He'll be back, trust me. Someone's going to get a spot for him where he fits, and that team will succeed with him being added. Now the reaction, though, with TJ being added, that's the move for the LA Thieves. They were clicking together. Their S&D looked so good. Their hardpoint looked so good. Control, they were starting to get things together and play in certain maps better than others. I think the LA Thieves, with this move, they rise up in the power rankings, and they're going to become a team to watch out for in Stage 4. I think the vibes will be at an all-time high. I think Kenny likes playing with TJ. I think Kenny is one of the best players in the game right now. When you talk boots on the ground, you think Kenny. He is extremely talented. Draza is one of my favorite new players in the scene. I think since he came up in MW, there's been no turning back for Draza. Venom's started to come into his role, learn the game a little bit better, and perform. Like the first couple matches Venom played, he got thrown into the murky water, and it wasn't good. But since then, he's been doing work. I like what the kid has to offer, and this roster is well-rounded. I love all the pieces that were put together from the LA Thieves, and I ultimately think that bringing TJ back into the starting lineup is a power move and a good move for the LA Thieves. It's wild. All the Rostermania stuff that's been going down this season, it is absolutely nuts. But last week, we got something else to talk about. It was a lot of fun watching the All-Star Weekend. This has done great, and I think for years to come, we can add more to the All-Star Weekend and make it even better, but I love it. It was a lot of fun to watch. I think the 1v1s were the most fun for me and everyone, not just because my bracket was pretty much perfect. Shout out to Beezy for being the 1v1 god. But other than that, I think that the CDL did this so well. So you had the casters going over this, and they were having fun. It was loose, it was light, it didn't need to be too professional. But the best part is that this 1v1 tournament and challenge is how Call of Duty should be played. You had each opponent in game chat, hot mics against each other, and there were so many good clips and spots where these guys were just enjoying the All-Star Weekend, letting loose and having fun. Like when Simp was playing against Paul X in the 1v1, they're like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And then Paul X hops on the revolving card display on the 1v1 map, and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm spinning. And then a BZ looks over to him. He's like, "Yeah, it's because you're on the platform and it spins." It was just so much fun to see these guys be authentic and not have them be like high-strung for a match. We got to see their personalities come out, and I think that's a win for the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League and esports in general, it's built off personalities and content, and then on top of that, the competition level. You gain fans by getting them to like these players, and then like these teams, and then like the league. All-Star Weekend is a huge help for that. You see people listening to this and they hear someone say something funny in a listen and they go, "Oh my God, I like that player. I'm going to go watch him and check him out more, watch his streams, and if he makes YouTube videos, and then from there, I'm going to watch him when his team plays a CDL match." So I think that the All-Star Weekend is beneficial to the CDL in multiple facets, and it brings a lot of viewership and new viewers, new eyes, and new perspective from the fans. I love that. I love all the casters and analysts getting to pick a team and have them go in what's really just a bigger scale of 8s. But it was a lot of fun. Like these guys, we got to see them mix and match players and talents and the best of the best competing against one another, and these guys taking it all and having fun with it on top of that. I think that there were some fun plays, there was some excitement, there was some competitiveness, of course, and the 1v1s with the hot mics, it was great. 1v1s were awesome, and the All-Star Weekend in general, it was a win for the Call of Duty League. I absolutely loved it. I would like to see them add more to it. Let's get the casters 1v1 and something fun like that with Miles Chance. All this good stuff. I think it'd be sweet to watch, and there's a lot that we can grow on from this, and it's a nice, refreshing portion halfway through the CDL season. I love it. Shout out to you, Call of Duty League. Now that we've gotten through all that good stuff, it's time to talk the nitty-gritty. It's time to get into what matters. It is time to talk about Stage 4. I'll bring it up on the screen here for you all, but we're going with the groups first. We're going to react to the Stage 4 groups, and I told you before, it is dirty, it is nasty, it's going to get greasy in there and murky in the water, but these guys are all going to be going as hard as they can in Stage 4. Let's take a look at Group A first. You have your Stage 1 and your Stage 3 champion Atlanta FaZe, and they come in the heavy favorite. You can't dispute that. You cannot bring a counterpoint to me that they're the number 1 team in the league, that they're the favorite in this group. The Atlanta FaZe have been absolutely frying. They have so much talent. They have fun when they're playing the game, and they just meld well together. They're well coached. The culture with the Atlanta FaZe, everything is perfect there. They lose the Stage 3 major to Toronto. They bounce back. They figure out what they did wrong, get their revenge on the subliners after losing to them in the Stage 3 major, and they go on to win the thing. They're scary. I'd be quaking in my boots if I was any other one of these teams in Group A. As I look forward on the schedule, I'd be saying, oh, man, we got to play FaZe this week, dude. Then you got to clock in, focus, and do your best because those guys are nasty, so good luck. Get your gamer grip out, apply it to your hands, rub it in 10 seconds, lean in, and you better hope that you are on your game when you play the Atlanta FaZe. The next team there, you see it right there, Optic Gaming, Optic Chicago, however you want to throw it up and whatever you want to call them. As we know, Hector, just so good. Built the brand, made them what they are. Everyone, you're either an Optic lover, Optic hater. I don't really think there's an in-between for these guys. I liked what they showed towards the end of Stage 3 and especially in the major. When push came to shove, when there was a lot on the line, when it was a significant match, Optic came out and they performed. They're on the rise. I think they got a good little break in from the All-Star Weekend. I hope that they can get within themselves, collaborate as a team, and get into it because there are a lot of egos on their team. That's always been the problem with Optic teams. Back when it was Scump, Formal, Karma, and Crimsix, those guys should have won every champs. Like the amount of talent they had, they should have won every champs. I know there were other good teams, and maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but a lot of the times the ego got in the way. Someone would call out, tell you to do one thing, you'd say, nah, F you, I'm doing this. You cost your life, you lose, then you're all pissed off, you hate each other. Then you're making excuses saying, well, we're not doing enough team dinners. It's always been there. That's always been the story for Optic, and you still have a lot of those guys who are the best in the game and have every right to have an ego, but you have to put it aside. You have to fight for the guy who's next to you, in the setup next to you. Put your differences aside, suck up your ego, and play as a team. That's the biggest key for Optic. They have so much talent, Envoy, Scump, Formal, and Dashy. But these guys can be hot-headed at times, and when they lose, things can get bad. We saw it. They went through a streak of losing where they had a lot of bad times. They were getting beaten by teams that they shouldn't lose to. If they can get it together, keep it together, get their emotions in check, love one another, they're so dangerous. They're extremely dangerous Phaser number 1. I'm not ranking anything else until I give my 2 cents about all the other teams. LA Thieves, I talked about them with the roster change of TJ. I just think it brings their stock up even further. I think they were performing extremely well, a top 3 team in the league when they had TJ on the roster. I think they get back to that form. I mean, Kenny is one of my favorite players to watch. Draza has been one of my favorite newcomers. Venom is performing really well as a rookie. He's found his role, started to learn the game a little bit better. And then bringing TJ back, I think he's going to have a lot to prove and be pissed off, honestly. I think he's going to be like, F you, you guys bench me, thought HUKE was going to be the man. I knew I'd get my time back. Let's effing fry. I think LA are going to be really dangerous in this group. Next up, Minnesota Rocker. I think they improve from where they were last stage, honestly. I think MAJORMANIAK makes the difference, and they step up. Plain and simple. I think a lot of their series against the top 3 teams as they're slated from 1, 2, 3, FaZe, Optic, and LA, not my power rankings, but the way they're just ordered right now on the screen. I think a lot of the games between Minnesota are going to go the distance against those teams. I think they can force it to an S&D, get deep, possibly win if MAJORMANIAK actually makes that difference. I'll be curious to see how they perform when push comes to shove, but I like what the Minnesota Rocker do. I think they just improve with the addition of MAJORMANIAK. These next 2 are the interesting ones. We'll see how Classic actually helps out with Seattle, and it's kind of fun that Paris gets drawn into that group as well because that's his old team. He can have stuff to prove against them for getting let go. So how Classic clicks with Seattle and how they start to meld together as a team, it'll be interesting. Because right now, the bottom of the barrel, it's how it's ordered right there. It's Paris and Seattle, and I think it's in that order. I think with Zap, the way he's been performing this season, he's shown promise. Scraps is just, he's an all-timer. He's a competitor. And then you look, Temp, he just wants to win, man. Donnie just wants a win. And then Aqua, he's been there. He's done it. I think my rankings, if I had to go through them for Group A, Atlanta FaZe, LA Thieves, Optic, Minnesota, Paris, Seattle. That's how I'm going to chalk it up. Now let's talk about Group B. This group is nasty too. I mean, with 12 teams in the league, it's like, oh, all right, there may be some power teams in one group and not in the other. Nope. Both groups are extremely dangerous, and I think this group is the more challenging of the 2 for the bottom tier teams. I think the top tier teams, there's 4 of them in Group A. I think there's only 2 to 3 of them in Group B. NYSL, I love that team. You guys know where I stand on them. Clayster is out for blood. The guy is the best leader ever. He's the best captain to ever play Call of Duty, plain and simple. He's performed when he's haven't. He's gassed people up and made sacrifices for them to succeed. Clayster is one of my favorite players ever in the entirety of Call of Duty because of what he does for those around him. Hydra, arguably the best rookie in the game. I think right now it's a toss-up between him and Insight. Standy, too. Gosh, there's so many good rookies. But Hydra has been disgusting. We know what he brings to the team in the respawns. His search has popped up monumentally as well. Then, I mean, a Sim, he's been doing it, and Mac has been melting. NYSL are dominant. They're such a good team. They're so fun to watch, and the leadership is there. I love this team. I think as it stands right now, they're number 1 in Group B for me, and right behind them, number 2, yep, the Toronto Ultra. These guys underperformed from what they wanted to in the Stage 3 Major, but they'll bounce back. The All-EU team, I've loved watching them. They've proven a lot. They got a lot of heat when they dropped methods. Panned out. They won a major. That's all that matters. I think these guys are still competing at a really high level. They've learned the game. They know where it's at. But I think a lot that's going to be broken down in these matches is going to be the vetoes, and if Standoff is played and what team is good at that, plain and simple. We'll talk about Standoff in a little bit after I go through the groups, but that's what it looks like right now, guys. NYSL and Ultra 1 and 2. Number 3 here, I think there's a 3-way battle. Man, maybe a 4-way battle. I think right now, I have the Florida Mutineers sitting at the number 3 spot. Skies and Awakening are disgusting. Havoc is popping off, and Neptune is another one of those rookies who has made monumental plays. We've seen him be huge in clutch situations, and he doesn't look like a rookie. He's made veteran plays in big situations, and I think that's huge. If Skies and Awakening can keep slaying, Havoc can run the routes, play the OBJ, know his role, and then have a big map every once in a while, that's a recipe for success for the Florida Mutineers. I love this team. I love their branding. I love their colors. I love their logo. I got to go buy some Florida Mutineers swag. I need a jersey or a scuff or a t-shirt or a sticker or something. I need to make myself go to the shop and buy something because I love this roster. I love this team. I love their logo, love their branding, love their Twitter account. I love it all. And that's why the Florida Mutineers are number 3 in Group B to me. Dallas Empire probably slot into the 4 spot. It just depends what Vivid can do for them. I think he'll be an asset. Krim is probably starting to get pissed off because he's not performing how he wants to and how he wants the team to. And then Illy and Shotzi, they're 2 of the greatest in the game. I think that Vivid's going to help out in Search and Destroy particularly and help win matches there. That puts the Dallas Empire in the 4 spot. I think Rambo's going to do a lot of good stuff. Aside from golfing, he's going to coach this team extremely well and make it happen. By the way, can we talk about that real quick? All these Call of Duty guys getting into golf now, I love it. I've played golf since I was like in 6th grade, 5th grade, played in high school competitively, and I've never stopped. It's fun to watch all these guys getting into golf. And listen, all you guys, Shady, Nameless, Rambo, if you ever want to play, you're in Arizona, hit me up. Hit my line. I'll get you out. Let's go have a good time. I'll teach you guys a thing or two because I've seen some of your swings and they can use some help, let me tell you. But I love seeing these guys come into my field of expertise, start to golf as their away time and as their fun time away from Call of Duty. It's a lot of fun. So the Dallas Empire slot in at number 4. And this 5-6 spot, I don't even want to decide it. Right now, I think I just have to give it to LAG, though, because Cheen. MJ Cheen has been the difference maker for this team. I like him and Silly and the combination that they have together. I think those 2 are the difference maker that put them in the 5 spot. These guys have been performing really well, and I think they can win some tight matches. Like LAG, they can beat Florida, they can beat Dallas, they can beat London. And if they perform good on any given day, the top 2 teams, you never know. So right now they sit there, and then London Royal Ravens, just because I don't know what's happening with the roster change and how you're going to perform, I'm giving you the 6th spot. I'm not doubting you. Don't say that. Don't clip this and say Z-Hack doubted us. No, that's not what's happening. I just want to see how Afro and Alex perform and work together with Paul X and Shawnee. That's it. Simple as that. I know these guys are talented and they can perform. So that's how it rounds out 1 NYSL, 2 Ultra, 3 Mutineers, 4 Dallas, 5 LAG, and 6 are the London Royal Ravens. These groups are disgusting. There's going to be a lot of good matches. Make sure you guys do your pick'em. And speaking of pick'em, yeah, why don't we hop right into that? I'm not going to do it on the official pick'em site. I'm just going to come up here on the Call of Duty League Twitter. I'm waiting for them to follow me, man. I feel like I need to follow from the Call of Duty League or I'm going to get really sad. I'm just kidding. But let's do some pick'em. Let's hop in to stage 4, week 1. I'm excited for it. I'm thrilled. I would still like to see more than 2 matches played on some of these days. It's making me sad to see that. But hey, it is what it is. Thursday, we start off with 2, May 27th. That's probably going to be when this show actually drops. I'm going to try and get it uploaded tomorrow, the 26th. I'm recording on the 25th, but we'll see what happens. Atlanta FaZe, Paris Legion. I mean, the new roster change, ZAPTIUS going in there. I think Atlanta FaZe are going to take advantage of this series. Maybe Paris are able to get a map, but I don't know how the practice has been, how scrims have been going. I think this could be a hot 3-0 and a quick day on Thursday. I'll take Atlanta FaZe 3-0 against the Paris Legion, and I remind you, all these picks are subject to change if I change my mind throughout the week. Don't hold me to it. I can have new insights. Speaking of insight, the Toronto Ultra against the Florida Mutineers. This one is going to be tight. I have this one going 3-2. It's going to go the distance. I would like to pick Florida in this one, to be honest. I would like the upset, but I just can't bring myself to do it. I think the way Toronto have been playing the past couple stages, they've looked really good. But I need to see, like I said, how everyone plays on standoff, man. Regardless, I'll take Ultra 3-2, 5 maps. So we have a 3-0, 3-2. We'll get one of each on this Thursday, and we move along to Friday. Friday, this is going to be a tight match. This one, I think, can go 5 as well. The London Royal Ravens bring 2 new players onto the roster against Dallas Empire and their 1 new player in Vivid, but I think Vivid will be the difference maker in S&D. The Dallas Empire, they take it 3-2. Minnesota Rocker, Optic Chicago. This could be another big one. Man, I got to stop picking these 3-2s. Whew. I think it's going to be a 3-2, though. I think Optic I think they may put it together, and I think they take it 3-2 over the Minnesota Rocker. But that one is the tightest one so far. That one can flip both ways, but I'll give it to Optic just because of how they performed at the major. They're coming in hot, and I think they had time to rest, relax, get it together. I'll give it to them 3-2. We move along to Saturday the 29th as May concludes. Minnesota Rocker versus Paris Legion to kick things off. I'll give it to Minnesota 3-1, plain and simple. I think they're the better team. They have the talent there. Look for Standy to pop off, and this may be a confidence booster for the roster with MAJORMANIAK coming into his role. 3-1 Minnesota Rocker. Then we move on to LA Thieves versus the Cleveland Browns. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it, but I had to. I apologize. Yeah, with TJ, this team is just too nasty. 3-1 LA Thieves over the Seattle Surge. Classical help, but not that much. I give it to LA Thieves. Final matchup, your Game Fuel marquee matchup. This one, it's going to be a 3-1, and it's going to be in favor of the New York Subliners. They're too good. Hydra's disgusting. There's no way New York are losing a hard point. They're going to bring that big streak into Stage 4. Hydra's going to be disgusting there. He's going to be disgusting in the search. Maybe the control, they falter. Maybe not. Could be 3-0. Could be 3-1. We'll go 3-1 with the New York Subliners. Finally, to close things out for Week 1, I know I'm blowing through these predictions. It's because oftentimes I take a lot of time on them. I got to speed it up for you guys. So on Sunday, May 30th, Florida Mutineers go to 1-1, in my opinion, in Stage 4. They take down the London Royal Ravens 3-1. I think Havoc, this may be a matchup where he performs and makes a difference. So 3-1, Florida Mutineers take down the London Royal Ravens. One for the ages here, folks. Toronto Ultra versus Dallas Empire. I think 3-2 Ultra. I think Empire, after getting one match in on Friday, they'll feel good about themselves, but not that good. Oh, gosh. Everyone look. Everyone look and highlight. I know, sorry you guys couldn't really see the Saturday matches, but I explained them to you. My face, my big fat face is in the way. But look at Sunday, the final matchup, the Game Fuel marquee matchup, Atlanta FaZe Optic Chicago. Let's get it. Oh, my gosh. We had the server issue last time around with these guys. We'll see what happens this time around. I think it has to go 5, just for the storylines. Just for the storylines, ladies and gentlemen. I think it goes the distance. I think FaZe are just better Tupac coaching them. Why have more teams not gotten S&D specialists to coach their S&D? I don't get it. Regardless, FaZe got the best of them in Tupac. Shout out to him. They win it 3-2, and that rounds out Week 1 of the Optic home series. They go 1-1. A lot of other teams perform well, and that's the final there. Those are my predictions for Stage 4 Week 1. Hit me up, guys. What are your predictions for the week on Twitter at ZHack16? And join my Pick'em pool in CDL Pick'em. It's the rotation with ZHack. The password is rotation. Easy as that. Get into it. Let's do it. Let's do it together. Let's have some fun. But those are my picks for Stage 4 Week 1. We've gone through a lot today, guys. We have definitely gone through a lot of topics. Can you guys bear with me? Do you think you guys can bear with me for a little bit longer here? I think you can, because we're bringing fantasy topics back as we head into Stage 4 Week 1, and we got a lot to talk about. I'm going to mesh two together here, a new concept I have and an old one I already put together. A little bit of stardom, situm, but we're going to use buy or sell this week. So let's get into a little bit of buy or sell for Stage 4 Week 1. Buy or sell Call of Duty League Fantasy. So I'm going to talk today and buy or sell about sort of borderline guys, so you're not going to get the simps, the Abizis, the Dashies, where it's like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. I'm putting them in. It's going to be guys who are kind of borderline, and it's like, maybe I have a better player there, maybe I don't. And I'm going to tell you if you want to start them or if you want to sit them. The first person I want to talk about is Kenny, and what are you going to do with Kenny this week on your fantasy CDL roster? You are going to start Kenny. He loves TJ. He will enjoy having TJ back. He's one of the best boots on the ground players in the league, and Kenny has been absolutely disgusting on the year with a 1.03 overall KD. He has a lot of fun when TJ is on the map with him in Search and Destroy. Kenny will take over. Look for him to have a double-digit kill map and bring your team a lot of points this week. Kenny, I'm buying on Kenny. I am starting Kenny this week. Another player that you have to look at and someone I want to bring up, and we always talk about these high-tier teams, but if you're in a deep league and you have to look at certain guys, you never know what's going to happen. Let's talk about scraps. Matty Marshall. What do? Oh, buy or sell, buy or sell, buy or sell. Buy and start Matty Marshall. Scraps is a demon on the map. I think he wants to show ZAPTIUS the way and be like, listen, man, you're going to enjoy it on the Paris Legion team, and I'm going to show you a lot right now. This is what you're going to do. You're going to perform like me. I think Scraps pops off this week, has a lot of fun in the matches he plays, and we also have to look at the matchups that these guys have. You look at the Paris Legion against Minnesota Rocker, I like that one a little more than I do against Atlanta FaZe for Scraps. So realistically, for him going at it, I want to start him, okay? It can go either way with how he goes against Atlanta FaZe. That might be a 3-0. He might have a bad series, so you may want to steer clear of him. Just a forewarning. I know I kind of went both ways. You might want to look out because he could be a difference maker this week on the team. We're going to go ahead and do one more here. In buy or sell this week. Start him, sit him, yada, 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 whatever you want to call it. And I think somebody that we look at, you guys may be getting excited for some of these rookies coming into the league and be like, ooh, man, I think that they could have a good week. I think that they could have a bad week. We're talking about Vivid. He's coming fresh. He has a lot to prove. I buy on Vivid. I start him. I bring him into the lineup. Dallas Empire faced the London Royal Ravens in their first match. I think that's a good spot for Vivid to get going. Then Toronto Ultra, I think that series goes the distance. So you get a lot of volume out of Vivid. And I think he performs well in the high point match, which is Search and Destroy. He gets it done for you. Start Vivid this week. I know you guys are going to probably say, oh, who do I sit? What do I do? What do I do with these roster changes? What am I going to do? Well, I'll tell you what you're going to do. Let's look ahead to some more of these matchups on the weekend. Pristini, we'll bring it out. Seattle Surge only have one match this particular weekend. I think you sit Pristini. They play the LA Thieves. The LA Thieves are going to come out with a lot of velocity and ferocity, and they're going to come at the Seattle Surge right at their throat. I think the LA Thieves will dominate this series. I think you want to steer clear of Pristini for fantasy this week. Leave him on your bench. It's A-okay. Go ahead and do that. Final one we're going to talk about in buy or sell. It's going to be the boy MJ Cheen. Listen, you guys know how I feel about him. I love Cheen. I love how he can perform. The matchup's just not there for him this week. They're playing the New York Subliners. Sell Cheen. That doesn't mean trade him. It just means bench him this week. Find someone else with a better matchup. If you have someone on the LA Thieves, if you have someone on the Minnesota Rocker, if you have somebody on the Florida Mutineers, start them over these two guys I just talked about. If you have any questions, guys, tell me who you're thinking about starting. Hit my line on Twitter. Say, ZHack, man, I need help this week. I don't know if I start this guy, sit this guy. What do I do? Who do I put in place of him? Do I pick someone up off the waiver wire? Hit me up on Twitter, ZHack16. That's buy or sell for this week. We got one more to get into when it comes to fantasy, and you already know what it's going to be. Getting kind of tired doing this podcast, guys. Psych! I'm loving every minute of it, but we're talking CDL Fantasy Sleepers. CDL Fantasy Sleepers. There's a couple of guys that you have to look at here on particular rosters and particular teams based strictly off of matchups this weekend. My first sleeper comes from the Florida Mutineers. I talked about how much I love this team. The Route Man, they get paid, and they get paid dividends in fantasy. I know Neptune is going to be one of the high caliber guys that you already have on your roster, but Havoc, he's one you can go pick up. He is a sleeper that can perform this weekend. I like the matchup against the London Royal Ravens on Sunday. I think Havoc is going to put up pretty good stats this week. They're going to have a tight match against the Toronto Ultra. I think they lose, but I think that Havoc has a decent enough map against them, and then a good map, really good series against the London Royal Ravens to make him worthy of starting as a sleeper. Who's another sleeper that you want to look at? Who's someone you maybe even want to take a shot on? What do you guys think about this? What do you think about he's probably on the waiver wire because he got dropped and then he got picked up? Sleeper of the weekend from the LA Thieves, TJ Haley. The kid's going to be pissed off. He's going to perform. He's going to fry. They're going to dominate the Seattle Surge, and him and Kenny are going to destroy everyone together. That duo will be gross on the map. Even though they're different roles, I will call them a duo. Yes, taste it. These guys are going to perform. I think that TJ is another sleeper that you're going to want to get in your starting lineup this weekend. That's going to do it for the fantasy segments for this week of the rotation with ZHAK. Let me know, guys. Like I said, questions, comments, concerns, whatever you want to talk about, let me know. Hit me up, okay? And we're going to get into it. I know you guys want to hear who's the best in the game, but we already did one on last episode, guys. Okay? Arcides was the best in the game. Headed into stage 4. We haven't had any matches. We haven't had anything happen. If you want me to do one from All-Star Weekend, I'll give it to you quick. It's a beezy, okay? The guy's a stud. He's a talent, well-renowned. But I think that we're going to end this episode of the rotation without doing a who's the best in the game this weekend. We're just going to end it from the fantasy segments, okay? I'm sorry, all right? Yell at me. I don't care. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. Yet again, we got a lot of Call of Duty to be played. Stage 4 just around the corner. I am pumped for it. Slam that follow button on Twitter, ZHAK16, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It's the same thing. The Rotation with ZHAK or Zach Warhack on YouTube. Guys, subscribe, comment, like the videos, share it with all your friends and Call of Duty lovers. Once again, thank you for tuning into ZHAK16's episode 16 of the rotation with ZHAK, and we will see you next time. Peace and cheers. Have fun this weekend, guys.